and I'm this week's service assistant.
And I'm Reverend Joanna Lubkin, minister of All Souls Church.
A few etiquette things. We keep everyone on mute for the service, except for our time of sharing of joys and concerns.
If you're new to All Souls Church, please take a moment to click on the link in the order of service and in the chat for our connection card so that we can stay in touch.
It's up to you if you want to turn your camera on and be seen. We do record the service, though joys and concerns shared will not be part of the final recording.
Please feel free to chat in the chat box or to ignore it. We'll be pasting in links for things like our order of service there, but you can also use it as a space to greet one another. In today's participatory service, we'll have some time for you to do some writing. So you may want to grab a pen and paper or open up a blank document on your computer if you prefer.
During the service, please feel free to get up, move around, or take a break from the screen as you need, but try to be present as possible and imagine we are all in the same room together.
Finally, remember that when you are invited to sing or to pray, to share or to chat, how you participate or don't is up to you. And if it helps you to sing with gusto, sheet music is at the end of each order of service.
After church, we will have some time to say hello in breakout rooms.
Now, hear these words of welcome.
All who enter in the spirit of curiosity, love, and justice are welcome this morning.
Welcome to people who love God, people who don't believe in God, and people who live in the not knowing.
People who find a higher purpose deep inside, people who find it in relationship with one another, and people who find it in the interdependence of all existence.
And all people in between.
Whoever you are, whatever your gifts or abilities may be, however you identify your gender or sexual orientation, wherever your life and faith journey has taken you, you are welcome here.
Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you understand the sacred, you bless us with your presence.
Now for our chalice lighting. We light our flaming chalice with words from Kimberly and Tomzak Carlson. We are a people of memory. As inheritors of our ancestors' legacy, we hold their stories tenderly, gleaning wisdom from diverse journeys, united in hope for the future. Guide us to trust and love as we kindle this flame together. And we follow the All Souls tradition of lighting a green candle, symbolic of our commitment to being a green sanctuary congregation. May both these flames call us to kinship with and great care for the earth and her living creatures. As we center our hearts, let's sing our chalice song for May, Flame Welcome All.
Good morning. This morning, we celebrate the stories of where we're from, and we also lift up that today is the Christian holiday of Pentecost, which is celebrated 50 days after Easter and commemorates the story of the Holy Spirit coming to Jesus's disciples. In honor of all of this, we lift up the spirits that dwell within each of us, the stories that dwell within each of us. We share these opening words from Reverend Scott Taylor. We gather as a house of stories. As we learn of those who have gone before, the way in front of us becomes more clear. As we weave together the tales of who we are, our loneliness lessens, and the web of our oneness is revealed. As we listen deeply in those times of tender trust, we descend into the longings and learnings, hopes and fears of the humanity we share. Beneath the wells from which we drink, there is a deeper well that feeds them all. Come, let us tell each other tales of our thirst. Let us drink from the stories that sustain us all. Our first hymn this morning is Come, Come, Whoever You Are. And earlier this week, thanks to vaccinations, I was able to sing in person with two of my bandmates from the Sanctuary Boston community, where we also did this hymn. So with their permission, I'm delighted to share the recording from our Zoom service of Come, Come, Whoever You Are. And we sing it with an additional line that one more than is in the hymnal, which is from Rumi's original poem, Though You've Broken Your Vows 1,000 Times. So feel free to sing that or any part or join in the song in a round. Let's lift our voices together.
Though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, though you've broken your vows, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Though you've broken your vows 1,000 times, though you've broken your vows, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, wanderer, worshiper of despair. Come yet again, come. Come yet again, come. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, ours is no caravan of despair. Come yet again, come. Come yet again. Come yet again, come. One more time. Come yet again, come.
As a spiritual community, we journey together through life's ups and downs, and we hold each other in love. We take this time to reflect on our week, to recall the milestones, the joys, the concerns, the sorrows, the changes in our lives, and those in need of healing. If you have a heartfelt milestone, joy, or sorrow that you'd like to share, you're invited to share aloud or in the chat. If you'd like to share, you're welcome to come off mute by pressing the mute or unmute button, usually in the lower left corner of your screen, or by pressing *6 if you're calling in. Please share your name and briefly express what's on your heart. If you're having trouble unmuting, kind of give us a wave and we'll press the button that invites you to unmute. After each person shares, I'll drop a stone in water, symbolic of the water that we gathered and blessed in this year's water ceremony. And finally, please know that this section won't end up in the final recording. What's shared now is kept only here in real time. All are welcome to share now. all of the sorrows and all of the joys that we hold in our hearts. I'll drop one final stone to remember and to rejoice. We lift up these prayers, these joys, these milestones with our centering hymn, This Is My Song. I invite you to sing along.
This is my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for lands afar and mine. This is my home, the country where my heart is. Here are my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. But other hearts and other lands are beating with hopes and dreams as true and high as mine. My country's skies are bluer than the ocean, and sunlight beams on clover leaf and pine. But other lands have sunlight too, and clover, and skies are everywhere as blue as mine. Oh, hear my song, O God of all the nations, a song of peace for their land and for mine.
I invite you to join me in a time of meditation and prayer, first in words, then in silence shared together, and then in music. Our words of meditation today are from Reverend Alicia Ford, her version of Psalm 121. I lift my eyes up to the hills. From where will my help come? My help comes from love abundant. My help comes from the hills. My help, it comes from ancient mothers whose hearts beat in mine. It comes from the trees that sway and the breeze that sways them. My help comes from all that is and was and ever will be. I lift my eyes, hushed by the soothing touch of waves, caressing wounded shores, wounded souls. I lift my eyes to the horizon bathed by the hum of mothers and mothers cradling, gently rocking. I lift my voice, call of the sea, trees, sister, moon, Mother Earth, my soul weeping, a symphony of life overflowing. I give myself. I too hum through every pore. With every breath, I give myself an extension of all that is, was, and ever will be. Let us be together in shared sacred silence.
have for our call to offering. This is a time in our service when we take a financial offering to support the work of this church. We do this in worship to act out the reality that is our generosity that sustains this church. Most of our budget comes from us, from everyone who makes and pays a regular pledge, and everyone who gives something on Sunday. If you're new here today, please feel free to let the virtual offering basket pass you by. You are our guest. If you consider this your church, please consider making and paying a recurring pledge. Please give what you can, whether that is $1, $20, or more. You can make a donation online or mail a check to the addresses listed in your order of service and in the chat. We are so grateful for the ways each of you give your time, your talent, and yes, your treasure and your money to make this church happen. Aren't you glad, too, for the ways everyone gives? And for the ways this church is transforming lives for the better? Remember to give from that place of gratitude. This morning's offering will now be gratefully received. Thank you.
Our reading this morning, we get to hear actually read by its author, the poem Where I'm From by George Ella Lyons.
Where I'm from. I am from clothespins, from Clorox and carbon tetrachloride. I am from the dirt under the back porch, black, glistening. It tasted like beets. I am from the forsythia bush, the Dutch elm, whose long gone limbs I remember as if they were my own. I'm from fudge and eyeglasses, from Imogene and Alifair. I'm from the know-it-alls and the pass-it-ons, from perk up and pipe down. I'm from He restoreth my soul with the cotton ball lamb and 10 verses I can say myself. I'm from Artemis and Billy's branch, fried corn and strong coffee, from the finger my grandfather lost to the auger, the eye my father shut to keep his sight. Under my bed was a dress box, spilling old pictures, a sift of lost faces to drift beneath my dreams. I am from those moments Snapped before I budded, leaf fall from the family tree.
Thank you. So for today's participatory reflections, I'll give some reflection and then we'll have some time to write. So if you don't have a pen and or paper and would like to grab one, now's a great time to do that. I first heard that poem, Where I'm From, when I worked for the Unitarian Universalist Ministers Association. We were at a staff retreat focused on deepening our work around anti-racism, anti-oppression, and multiculturalism. My coworker, the Reverend Derek Jackson, read George Ella Lyon's poem aloud and told us that it's been used in classrooms and community organizations around the world as a tool for reflection, both individually and communally. It caught my attention, partially because it didn't follow the rules of grammar that I'd expect. I'd hear I'm from and expect it to be followed with the name of a place. Instead, the poem invites us into a full sensory experience of how a person grew up, their background, home, family cultures, and the beliefs that they were raised with. What this poem says is that where you're from isn't just the town or the state that you live in. It's all of the places, people, things, and ideas to whom and with whom you belong. At this staff retreat, after hearing Lyon's poem read aloud, we were then invited to write our own poems in the same format. This is an exercise that's as powerful for school children still in the process of figuring out who they are, although aren't we kind of all always figuring that out, to elders sharing their stories with the next generations. People have used it at their family reunions. Teachers have used it with kids all over the United States, in Ecuador and in China. They've taken it to girls in juvenile detention, to men in prison for life, and to refugees in a camp in the Sudan. On one level, the exercise of writing a Where I'm From poem can be a way for us to get to know each other, whether the poem comes out sweet or funny or poignant. When I've asked folks what they love about All Souls Church, what a lot of you share is that you've found the congregation to be a group of people interested in knowing who you are and hearing your stories. The sense of fromness that we can get from hearing someone's poem can let us know someone in a new way. And sharing them is a celebration of each person's uniqueness, their inherent worth. There's another level to these Where I'm From poems that helps us deepen our justice work. And this is part of why we did it at that staff retreat. Here at All Souls in our anti-racism small group this winter, we talked a lot about understanding our cultures and our upbringings. And so often, those of us who are socialized as white are implicitly taught that we don't have much of a culture as white folks. That simply isn't true. It's just that there are so many aspects of white culture that are so normative and so dominant that they may feel invisible to us. It's like how a fish doesn't know what water is because that's all it's ever known. It can't differentiate between water and not water until it jumps above the surface for a moment. Simply put, if we want to create a more just, equitable, and kind culture, we need to be able to notice and acknowledge the culture we're already in, both the good things about it and the things we want to change. If we want to act in the world as strong allies to marginalized groups, to be anti-racist in our words and our deeds, to keep growing our inclusion and our welcome, we need to be able to look back and see what ideas we were raised with that we might be carrying with us. As the author James Baldwin wrote, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. We gather as a house of stories. Some of the things that the prompt "I am from" brings up for us may be hard or may make us cringe in hindsight. And some of it will be nostalgic and lovely. Some of it will help us understand the unspoken assumptions that we come with into a room simply because of how we were raised. Some of it will be playful and full of childlike wonder. Whatever the story is of who you are, where you're from, how you were raised, it is worthy of sharing because you are worthy of being known. So we'll take some time now together to do our own reflections, to take a first pass at writing our own Where I'm From poem. If your mind hears writing a poem and objects, "I'm not a poet," please assure your mind that it doesn't need to be poetic or lyrical. It just needs to be true. And we won't take very long with our writing time, so you won't have time to labor over a phrase. Just allow yourself to jot down what comes to mind. I'll read us the prompts, and then we'll take about 4 minutes of quiet music to each do our own writing, and I'll be doing mine too. And then I'll invite folks who would like to share to read their drafts aloud. Now, we'll have time for a few people to do this, and I think it's a great gift if you're willing to share, to let yourself be known. If you would like to share but would rather it not end up in the final recording, just let us know and we'll make sure that's taken out. This really is a chance for us to reflect and build our community together. I'll talk us through how to do it. These are suggestions rather than rules, so feel free to use them or to not. Lines of your poem will start with "I am from blank and blank, I'm from blank and blank." And then to finish these sentences, which don't need to follow the typical grammar rules, you can add in your responses to these prompts. If you've ever done Mad Libs, you can think of it as a kind of fill in the blank like that. So I'll read through these prompts and then give us time to write to music here. Describe where you live or where you grew up. What does it look like? What does it smell like? What does it feel like? What objects or belongings can be found in your home or your room? List at least 3. What are the names of people in your family? They could be alive or deceased, and they do not need to be blood relations. List 2 or 3 family traditions. What phrases, words, or sayings are important to you or to members of your family? What are some beliefs that represent where you're from? What foods are important to you or your family? Describe the weather where you're from. Pick and choose whichever of these jump out to you, and we'll take 3 or 4 minutes. Alicia, if you don't mind hitting play on the music, let's write. let you finish up whatever line you're working on. And it's okay if it's unfinished. It's okay if it ends abruptly. It's okay if you go and build more later. There's a chance for us to get a glimpse into this. So I'll start with what I wrote and just what I wrote in real time now, not any other time. So, and then after that, I'll invite anybody who's willing to read what they wrote or parts of what they wrote aloud to come off mute. And again, let us know if you'd like it to not end up in the final recording, and we'll trim it out afterwards. And from eating ice cream bundled up in winter jackets, and from weather so hot and humid that the mud grows mold. I'm from arriving on time, but Jewish goodbyes that last for 20 minutes of not leaving. I'm from survivors and immigrants, from scientists and writers. I'm from shouting and interrupting, or if you're being polite, high energy overlapping conversation. I am from playing with dogs and adopting kittens. I open the floor to anyone who's willing to share.
I will go if that's okay.
Great, please, Mary.
Throw my hat in the ring. I am from a house where we hung a seasonal mobile in our high-ceilinged stairwell. Origami cranes, blown out Easter eggs, Christmas ornaments. I am from a house where there was a dark room where I would watch developing photographs take form. The smell of the chemicals was so strong.
So wonderful. I didn't know any of those things about you. Thank you, Mary.
I'll go.
Great. And then I think Alicia will be good, ready to go afterwards. Great.
Okay. I'm from about 2 acres, mostly wooded. I'm from a hideout of gently rotting leaves with a discarded bottle of liquid vitamins found in the yard, taken daily till it was empty. I'm from water where I jumped out to look back early and often. I'm from angry silence.
Ooh. Whether you meant to end it there or not, that's a powerful place to end it. Thank you, Dawn, for sharing that. Alicia.
I am from Bigford's breakfast after Sunday services. I'm from hot summers with window units and cold winters with freezing pipes. I'm from an imaginary dad and a single mom who still got it done. I'm from that dress would look great if you lost 5 pounds and have a cookie on your way by the kitchen at night. I'm from the television babysitter until mom came home from work. I'm from strong women who want to be heard.
Thank you, Alicia. I had an imaginary sibling, or actually 2, I guess, if you can. So, yeah.
Where I'm from is not a place I want to go again. I'm from lots of dirt to play in and trees to climb, fruits and nuts to pick, and a silent and secluded area where no one else can go. I'm from confusion and anger. I'm from clutter and escape. I'm from consequences lacking guidance. I'm from survival and blindly finding my own road.
And boy, you have survived. Thank you for sharing. We'll take a few more moments. So Kate, and then Lauren, and then potentially one more.
I am from Providence and Taunton, Warwick and Pawtucket, and Quincy now. I am from cheese dirt and family troubles. I am from Bess, who loved me, and John, who chose to leave this earth before I was 5. I'm from a nurse and an elevator operator. I'm from 7-Up and homemade pineapple upside down cake. I am from 4-leaf clovers and wild irises in Taunton.
Ah, so pretty.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And I love the way you really do seem to have so many of the senses in there. It's your family story of who your family was and your family story of 7-Up and pineapple upside down cake. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I am from all 4 seasons. the sun in my heart, the birds that give me reasons to wake up singing and smiling. The seasons of spices and the seasons of my home are my very nicest.
Thank you. You did write a poem. It's one of the things I love about this particular exercise, right? Like you don't need to think you can do it to do it. And especially if you only have 4 minutes to just toss something out. It's beautiful. Thank you, Lauren. Is there anyone else who'd like to share? We have time for one more. Jane, please.
I'm from southern New Jersey, farm country, which I can still smell in the spring and the summer, watching things growing. I'm from eating asparagus and strawberries and corn, and from smelling the tomato soup cooking in the Campbell Soup kitchen, not too far from my home.
Oh, I love that. And now I'm hungry. Thanks, Jane. This is beautiful. Oh, it's so wonderful. Thank you all for your willingness to share, and even for just your willingness to write, your willingness to listen and receive each other's stories. It's true that some of it is sweet and playful, some of it is evocative, some of it is hard, but it's who you are, where you've grown from, what has brought you to this moment, and it is worthy of being shared. So thank you. We gather as a house of stories. As we learn of those who have gone before, the way in front of us becomes more clear. As we weave together the tales of who we are, our loneliness lessens and the web of our oneness is revealed. As we have listened deeply in these times of tender trust, we descend into the longings and learnings, hopes and fears of the humanity that we share. Beneath the wells from which we each drink, there is a deeper well that feeds us all. So may we tell each other tales of our thirst, and may we drink from the stories that sustain us all. So may it be. Amen. Our closing hymn today is Do You Hear? In honor of all of these stories that we share, let's sing together.
Do you hear, oh my friend, in the place where you stand, through the sky, through the land? Do you hear, in the height, on the plain, in the vale, on the main, in the sun, in the rain? Do you hear, through the road, through the rush, through the throng, through the crush? Do you hear in the hush of your soul, hear the cry, fear won't still, hear the horse call to will, hear a sigh, starting true, in your soul, in your soul. From the place where you stand to the outermost strand, do you hear, oh my friend? Do you hear all the dreams, all the tears, all the sighs, all the prayers? They are yours, mine and theirs. Do you hear,
Thank you, Jacob, for leading us in that. Our closing words today are from Reverend Sherry Woodbury. May we have the courage to speak or write the stories within us that need to be told, the stories that make up our lives. May we listen with a loving mind and heart to the stories of others' lives, others here in this congregation, and others in our wider community and the world. Let us choose with care the stories that we teach to our children, remembering that all of our stories have power and that all of our stories are connected. All life is one. In the name of all that is sacred in these gathered hearts, may it be so. And amen. Our postlude today, you'll know from our teal hymnal as We Are by Ise Barnwell. This version that we share is from last year's General Assembly Virtual Choir and features photos of some of our singers' own family stories and their, not descendants, ancestors, the opposite of descendants. So I invite you to enjoy, and if you'd like to sing along.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Oh, for each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Oh, for each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage, fathers of time, daughters of dust, and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy, brothers of love, lovers of life, and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth, keepers of faith, makers of peace, and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage, fathers of time, daughters of dust, and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy, brothers of love, lovers of life, and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are one.
That one always makes me teary. Thank you so much to those who helped make today's service, to Mary for being an usher, Alicia for technical assistance, Joe for being our service assistant, Jacob, as always, for the music, Don for the flute, to those who shared, and to all of you for being here. We have so much going on in the next few weeks. So a slide with some announcements on it, but then there's even, but wait, there's more. I won't read them all word for word. We have our regular connection circles happening this week, as well as the spiritual writing group. This coming Sunday will be a service in honor of Memorial Day and also the 100th anniversary of the of the Tulsa riot. So there will be a lot of really evocative stories, I hope, that will give us a chance to reflect on whose stories get told throughout history. And then in the next several weeks, there are some really exciting things coming up. So let me think if I can go sequentially. So June 6th, which is 2 weeks from today, right after the service itself is going to be about Broadway. So that's going to be fun. I'm excited. And then following the service, right in this same Zoom room at about 11:45, so I'll have a few minutes to take a break and then come back for our annual meeting in which we we talk about the election coming up for our upcoming slate of leaders. And you will be getting in the next couple of weeks an email with a link to an electronic ballot if you are a voting member of the church, or a paper ballot if you get your correspondence from the church by email or by paper mail. So stay tuned for that. On June 12th, which is a Saturday, the Development and Engagement Committee, the same group that brought the talent show to us last evening, will be meeting at the church at 2 p.m. So that'll be masked and distanced, but in person. So if you are craving that, that might be a great reason to come and be a part of the development and engagement work. Just putting that out there. And then on Saturday, June 19th, we will be having an outdoor flower exchange in the churchyard. So let me tell you about that. So on Sunday, the 20th, we'll have our annual flower ceremony in which when we were in person for that Sunday, we would invite people to bring a flower and then take home a different one than they brought, symbolic of all of the gifts that we bring to this community. So we're doing it over the course of 2 days. So that's Saturday, the 19th from 10 to 11 a.m. Come by the church outside and you can bring a flower and take a different one with you. We'll also have some there. It's also Juneteenth, the holiday that commemorates the full abolition of slavery in the United States. So we'll do a little bit to commemorate that. And then bring your flowers to Zoom the next day. So a lot coming up there. And I believe Joe also has an announcement about summer services and possibly additional things that I have missed. So Joe, over to you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, thank you very much, Joanna. Yes, hi, everyone. Yeah, I just wanted to give an update about our summer services. So between the Board of Trustees and the Sunday Service and Music Committee, we are both in agreement that we will be having summer services in person in the parish hall, mask required, socially distanced. We will be having the windows open as well. And we're also going to be streaming the services online. And during the summer, it will be kind of like a little test period for us, as hopefully we're also looking forward to returning back to the sanctuary beginning in the fall. Mary and myself are handling the signups. If anyone's interested in leading a summer service, please contact us. We will have a form that will be sent out for people to sign up. If you have any questions, please contact Mary and myself. And if you have any questions about the summer services, then you can also contact me or members of the Sunday Service and Music Committee.
Yes, thank you. So yes, and to Kelly's question, which is a good one about whether the live services will be on Zoom. Yes, we're going to start with trying that because it allows, I think, for the most participation. So for the summer services, our hope is that they'll get better and better each week. And as we try out what works and we get feedback from those of you at a distance of, oh, I couldn't really hear that. Can you move the mic for next time or things like that? So the idea is that we'd be those who are in the parish hall are participating there, and that there's at the very least, a laptop with like a webcam and an external mic so that hooked up to Zoom so that folks can stay connected. So we're gonna be trying out different ways of doing that. And really the people who have been able to join us from a distance, you matter to us and we wanna stay connected to you. So if you will bear with us over the first few weeks as we kind of figure that out and give us feedback on what works, that'll mean a lot to us. And if you are at a distance but are potentially interested in facilitating a summer service, that might still be possible, and especially if it's toward the end of the summer as we've gotten better at it. So feel free to put your name in if you're curious about that. What time and when will they start? So the first summer service, so our Flower Sunday is the 20th of June. The week after that, the plan is, so the GUA General Assembly will be that week, and that morning, the tentative plan is that we will gather, we'll stream the service for General Assembly in the parish hall and on Zoom. So that would be kind of your first opportunity if you're local to the area and feel ready to be in person, masked, distanced, windows open. Gather in the parish hall at our 10:30 time for watching that GA service together. And then if you want to socialize afterwards outside, great. And then following that, they will keep going. I don't think we've solidified on what time, whether they'll start at a time other than 10:30. So we'll get back to you on that. All right. Anything else that I have to, and if July 4th is the first one that is after the GA service. And for those summer services, you'll get an email with a link to a Google survey or Google form. Should be very easy. And for these, short and sweet is better. It doesn't need to be a full. Don't plan to preach a 20-minute sermon. Think of it as like, I have a discussion question I'd love to bring, a poem I'd love to bring, or a TED Talk I'd love to share. That kind of a thing. All right. Amazingly robust announcements this week. Thank you all. And we'll take some time now for breakout rooms.